The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There was a man, he lived in Radin. He was very old, he didn't get married, and he stayed one night in the shul after, and it was Yom Kippur. Everybody he thought went home. He was there in front of the Hechal, crying to Hashem. All of a sudden, the Chofetz Chaim, he sits down next to him, and he starts giving him some words of consolation. He tells him, he says, you know, I had it very hard when I was younger. I had a hard life. My father died when he was 10. When I was 10, we were very poor. They sent me away. I was sent away to yeshiva. I was alone in life. I had no people, I had no family. He said it was time for me to get married. And I was part of an elite group. They were throwing the money at us. We were an elite group in yeshiva, and we could have any girl that we wanted and be able to sit and learn b'menuhat nefesh. He said, but my stepfather, he wanted me to marry his daughter, and they were very poor, and I felt bad for my mother. I said, out of respect for my mother, I'm going to marry his daughter. She was much older than me. And at the time, I didn't understand all my friends getting married to girls like this, and I was getting married to a poor girl. He said, but it turned out she had the greatest Eshet Hayil. She stuck with me. She pushed me to learn. She was the greatest wife I could ever want. And he said like this, he told that man, he said, throughout all of my ordeals, I was able to stay strong by knowing that Hashem was holding my hand the entire time and taking me exactly where I need to go. If a person feels that Hashem is with them, they could bear even the darkest of times. Somebody told me a story a few weeks ago. He said that in the last war with Gaza in 2008, the first soldier that was killed was named David Ashear. And his mother already lost 2 years before her husband in a car accident in Israel. So she was already in pain, and now she lost her son, and it was very difficult for her. One night, about 6 months after the death, she looked up to Hashem, and she said, Hashem, it's so hard. Please, just give me a sign to show me that there's some meaning behind this. I wish I could just have another hug from my son, David. And a couple of days later, her daughter, there was some type of arts festival in Israel. Her daughter wanted to go. She didn't want to take her, but she felt bad for her daughter, so she went, and they're sitting in the stands there waiting for the show to start. All of a sudden, this little boy, 2-year-old boy, comes over to them. They're sitting down. He taps the woman. Her name was Dalia Emanuelov. And he says, hi. She was a kindergarten teacher, so she likes children. She says, hi, you want to be my friend? He said, yeah. She says, what's your name? He said, Eshel. He said, come sit next to me, Eshel. Eshel's parents were a couple of rows back. They said, Eshel, come back. Stop bothering them. She says, no, it's no bother. He said, stop bothering them. Come sit with me and Dvir. Dvir? What kind of name is that? She gets up. She goes back a couple of rows. She sees a baby in the carriage. She says, would you mind me asking how he has that name, Dvir? And the mother of the child said, yeah. She says, I came home one night. I'm a nurse. I came home one night and I saw that there was a fallen soldier, Dvir, and it saddened me so much. And that day, the doctor told me that I was in late stage of pregnancy and there was a difficulty. There might be some type of birth defect that they can't stop. And she said, I looked up to Hashem and I said, Hashem, if you will give me a healthy baby, I will name him Dvir after the fallen soldier. And Baruch Hashem, I had a healthy baby and we named him Dvir. Dalia was overtaken by the moment. She said, I am David Emanuelov's mother. They said, what? You are? Yeah, I'm his mother. And in a moment of emotion, they picked up the baby and they handed it to Dalia and they said, here, David wants to give you a hug. And she hugged that baby and she said, thank you, Hashem. I know there's meaning. How do I know this story is true? Because someone from our community a few years ago lost his son, and he said he was also having a very difficult time and he wanted to just get away. And he had a trip. Someone offered him a trip to Israel. There was a bar mitzvah for his relative, Panamanian relative. And he really wanted to go. He said, but I had 2 business problems. I couldn't leave. He said, I told Hashem, I really want to go. If you're able to solve my business problems by 12 o'clock this morning, I'll be able to go and catch the flight tonight. And he said that morning by 11:30, both problems, very big problems, were solved. He called his wife. He said, we're going to Israel. And they were on the bar mitzvah trip. And he said, randomly, we're on some bus. We went to a Sefer Torah dedication somewhere, and we're on a bus. And sitting across from me is a man from Panama that I know. And he starts making conversation with me. And he says, I know you lost your son. He said, the lady behind me might be able to give you some chizuk. She's the niece of Chacham Sion Levi, Dalia Emanuelov. And he said, she has a story to tell you. And the man said, she told him the story word for word. And he said, I also got the chizuk that I needed. This is small glimpses of just feeling Hashem in your life.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org